Hey everybody, it's Steve at 1,000 Year Homes and Leah. So as you know, I'm behind on my solo build project. So I'm going to be bringing people in to help me get caught up. What Leah's going to work on today is clean the doors off. And then we're going to paint them Santa Fe Mission style turquoise. And that's a historic Adobe home style door. So once she gets these cleaned up, then she'll be doing that. I've got all the products here. We'll go ahead and take a look at those. One product, boobies.
I should put my shirt on.
So they, I bought these because I said I'm a dry cabin out here, so everything's got to be from pop-ups. But I was told this is the best way to prep for paint, so I'm taking their word for it. We'll let you know at the end of the day. Leah brought out newspaper to actually clean the windows as well as the wood, so we'll be cleaning the windows. This is the paint stuff that I have, and that will be the color, and I think that'll be real pretty. So by the end of the day, I'm hoping that the door and the front door there will be painted turquoise, and then we'll go from there. So it's still a little on the hot side here in Texas, so I'm not doing big jobs, but while she works on the doors, I'll go work on the sawmill, which I got to get the sawmill done so that I can get the foundation done, so that I can cut the beams and get the houses down and finish this up hopefully by May of this year. So I did an inventory. I'm going to do a wrap-up video in December, right, of how I got done. This is year 3. So I wanted to go through all of the process. I'm living in this one, so it's not officially living in it. So, but you got to be tough to live in stuff like that. It's a dry cabin. Yeah, okay, so the mini girl needs a taller ladder. So I'm going to set you up. You guys all supervise Leah, make sure she does a good job. So yell at her if she doesn't. All right, so my tripod was in the woods. The whole thing happened while for you it'll be like that, but trust me, it wasn't just like that. So anyway, Leah is going to go ahead and clean all those. When she's done, I've decided probably painting all of those window frames as well as the front doors. Probably a bit much for one person to do today. So I'll help her do this, and then in the evening when the sun gets off the main front door, because it's right on it, we'll do the evening doors. But hopefully by the end of today, these will all be turquoise, and we can decide together. Hey, is that the color? I like to do little things like that while so you get the vision while you're building. If it's always just build, it's messy until the last minute. It's kind of depressing. So I go along and do little things like this. And I don't know if turquoise is my color that I'm going to pick, but it feels right. So anyway, that's what's going on. I'm going to put you on stop motion while she works. All right, so I just wanted you to get a feel for how long each one of these take. And you know how I'm doing it. I'm just being super careful. But once I cut all these in, then I'll paint, just like I told you earlier, I'll paint in the direction of the wood grain, and I make sure at the seams that I honor the seams on the door, and then your door will look properly painted instead of weird. And people notice the weird. They don't know what's wrong with the door when they've seen the door just messily painted. But indeed, what's wrong with it is that they didn't respect the wood grain. So let me go ahead. I'll finish this part up, and then I'll demonstrate it. But the same principle that I'll demonstrate on these window glazing is the same principle that you'd use on the rest of the door. Cutting them all in. Well, that was at least an hour, and Leah's still working on the inside of the house and doing the other doors, so I went ahead and just finished one with a brush, and by the time I cut it all in, it wasn't a big deal. There is a technique to doing doors, and modern painters, why things are soulless, right? They go ahead, they have special stickers that just fit in all the windows, and they just stick them all, and then they get and usually it's the color of the walls, right? They get an air sprayer and Well, you lose all the character. You lose the brush marks. You lose the character of the wood because it disappears underneath this static coating. Where if you brush by hand, then you end up with a prettier looking, more classic design. Now, I'm glad that I did the turquoise. I am really not decided on it yet. So you all put down in the window, clicky-clacky comment section, the white, which made it bright and airy, or the turquoise that makes it more southwestern, but a little somber maybe. Anyway, there are some holidays. I'm going to let it cure. I'll paint the edges of the door tomorrow so I can leave it open all day long, 24 hours before I close it. So the edges of the doors aren't done. Tonight, when the sun goes down, I'll catch the inside. Let's talk a minute about painting with a brush on a door, because if you want a classic look like an old adobe house, and that's what I'm after, right now there's just shipping container homes, right? But when I wrap them with earth bag and stucco them, they'll look like adobe style homes. But I have the advantage of not having to build adobe all the way up myself. I'm simply going to skirt it about with earthbag, hyper adobe, and it'll be really nice. I like this, and but there's a technique to painting. You don't just paint any direction on a door. You follow the wood grain to get the optimal look on it, and I'll go ahead and walk you through that. All right, hand brush technique on a door, a French door, or any door. So let's go ahead and take a look. So wood has a grain to it, and the paint will follow the grain. So what you want to do, for example, down here, you'll want to actually paint all of this board, all of the upright, and then come in and paint that and stop where the seam of the door is. Real painters will put a piece of tape there and make a real sharp edge. In fact, I don't. I just carefully brush that line in. But notice I didn't go up and down on the bottom plate and side to side. And you follow the wood grain as far as you can go. As soon as the brush starts getting a little, if you have to press hard or make it a weird angle, dip the brush, a quarter inch down into the paint and go as far as that'll take you. So that's the secret to making a door look good here. The edges, of course, don't just paint the surface. I'm not done here. I'm in process. These edges will need a full maximum cure time. So I'm not going to paint those today. I'll paint them tomorrow morning. I'll leave the doors open so they have 24 hours. I also have a heat gun. I could come in here with a heat gun and cure them. So when you close the door, it doesn't end up sticking, right? I don't want it to stick. So in the stop motion, if you'll notice, I didn't put any painter's tape in here. By the time I put painter's tape in and then remove the painter tape and still have to clean the paint, I might as well just be careful. And there's a little where I went over a little bit. So I'll come back in here with a razor and I'll just remove these little edges where I went over. If you paint precise and paint small, you don't need painter's tape. It saves you hours and hours and hours. So you dip the paint, you turn the brush on the side, and you go down until it stops. If I'd run out of paint, and then you come up into the paint from the other direction. I painted all of the panes. And if you notice, the short ones, I stop where the long one is. So I painted that, and then I did this long one all the way, and I stopped. I don't cut into this board and make a weird stripe into it. I stopped at the edge. And then as I painted, everything on this board goes one direction. One direction. Everything on that short board goes one direction, stops, one direction, stops. The long board, one long direction, one long direction. And then this top board, stop, stop. And then I go as long as however these are cut. If they're longer here, you would paint them longer there. But they're not. These are short on this window. So I painted to here, stopped. I painted to there, stopped. Then I painted the longboard, right? Painted the longboard. Took about an hour to do that. I have very little cleanup, as you can see. Once I get a razor knife in there, there's just a little bit, because I was precise, a little bit here, a little bit there. There's some holidays that I'll come back in and cut. But this door will have character, right? It'll have old school character, which I'm after. Modern houses are soulless because everything's done so fast you can't see the hand of the craftsman. All you see is a brrr, you know, where they get out the paint sprayer and they just spray the door. Brrr, and a lot of times it's the same color as the house wall, making it disappear. In this particular case, it's not. These black doors won't be black. I'm going to actually put oak panels in them and make them like a castle door with iron and cool closes. So the doors on the shipping containers, those will be tricked out as well. Then the French doors to enter, then wrapped about with adobe, and then the top will have, of course, you can see the canales, right? There'll be canales, but they'll be professional. And then up will be a roof where the water will drain into a tank, storage tank, etc., etc., etc. I'm digging that that color. So what I'll do is I'll put you on, and I'll paint one of those panes by hands, and then you can just count. You know, 1, 2, 3, and then 8 down, right? 24. So each one of those, if it took me 5 minutes, you know, hours. So this is not, you know, if you're going to compare a professional painter, he's going to charge you. You got to make a living. He's got to feed his family. This is why you have to do some of your own work. Do some of your own work because not only will you save money, of course, but you don't need to watch TV and you don't need to be doing, right? You can be doing other stuff that brings you joy. Working with your hands brings you joy. And so if this takes me 4 hours for me to paint this French door and I do it once every 10 years, I got that kind of time. And in addition, it makes me feel happy. Looks good. I'm happy. Still debating on the turquoise versus the white. Eventually, after I earth bag it and get this thing done, then I'll debate on final color. But I don't know, I think that kind of, it's soothing in this hot environment. It's soothing and it's not stark white, right? It's soothing. So maybe I'll stay with that teal. I don't know. You let me know what you think. All right, so you're not a little kid. These folks that splash paint all over like it's a Jackson Pollock painting, that's not what life is. You saw that didn't need painter's tape. I was precise there. I will do a little cleanup with a razor knife. But let's talk about your can, right? So inside of this can, I cut a water top, and it's got the lid on it. I could have done it without the lid, and that's how I'm dipping it. And notice I'm not getting paint down inside of the seam. So that means when I put my lid on, I don't need to cover it. And, you know, if I cover it and then bang it down, the splashes won't splash out on me. But in this particular case, I wouldn't need to cover it. Instead, I could just simply pound it down because I didn't slock a lot of paint down into that. Just control your paint. You're not a little kid color painting.
Oh, I'm a little kid color painting.
Yeah, that's just what I'm trying. Listen, and your cleanup's so much better. And then I could put that in a Ziploc bag because I haven't got, you know, put a...
You taught me to do that.
Right. Smaller's better. Precise is better. What do you think?
I like it.
Leah says she likes it.
It needs another coat, though.
It does. And then I'm running out of sunlight, and in the evening it gets cool and moist, and then these won't cure. So I'm going to paint the outside of this, the outside of the other door. If you've got it clean, do you got it clean yet?
Everything's clean.
It's clean. Okay, so so I'll finish this one, and then I'll finish that, and then tonight I might paint the inside.
Okay.
Because the sun goes down so early, it's ridiculous.
Or maybe we could, yeah.
And then tomorrow I'll open the doors up and I'll paint the inside. You like that? I'm still debating whether I like the white better or not. It's soothing, right? Is that what you're seeing?
I like the turquoise.
And again, we don't even, it's not even adobe yet. It's just 2 shipping containers, very industrial, you know.
But then I like color.
I do like color too.
It's funny, I like color on stuff like this, but I wear black.
I like you to wear color. You know that. All right. All right. So let's do some detail work here. So I put in between, I put brushes in Ziploc bags. That way I don't have to clean them out. So going back to what I said originally, I dip a brush, just dip it, right? I'm not going in. Eventually it'll work its way up anyway. So I dip the brush in there and then I paint small. So, you know, I'm grabbing the paint line and I'm pulling the paint line with me. And eventually I'll go back over this with, to get the holidays and the stuff that won't work, that I missed. But there you go. And so imagine there's 8 times 3, there's 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 24 of these panes, and so I'm going to do this one in real time so you can appreciate how it is. And this is why real guys who are professional, they tape it all off with, they buy the stickers, right? And they pass that cost along to you. And they come in with a sprayer and they spray it, and as opposed to a custom color, you know, because they just want to get to the next house and the next house and the next house and make money and make money and make money. And I think that's what's happened. Our tradesmen, and not their tradesmen, but they're gone. And instead we have these soulless corporations that just don't care about craftsmanship, and they'll hire anybody. And if you're too expensive, if you're a skilled laborer, they'll just get rid of you. So I've been a good painter for a long time. So good, in fact, that school systems hired me as a teenager, starting around 14 even, to paint the schools every year. So I would paint the doors and do the cutting in, and the commercial guys or the janitor custodians would do the professional. Depended if the school had outsourced it by then to third parties. But a lot of schools had a janitor who used to retire with pensions. What America's not telling is this generation is there was a better America. And these folks running around with hats that say "Make America Great Again," but don't support unions and they're not making America great again. It's just a slogan, like people who hate people and talk about Jesus, right? It's just not Christ. It's not Christianity. It's just they're just using Jesus as a vehicle to communicate their own biases. But the same things happen with craftsmen, that people are saying things. But we used to apprentice young men like myself, and I made more money. I think I made $12 an hour as apprentice way back in the 70s and 80s, and as a kid. And now guys are telling me they're making $8, $9 at Best Buy right now. I'm like, when did that happen? That corporations don't pay anybody. All right, so you'll see that here I am. I'm just carefully cutting it in. A paint small. We'll do this, some of this. So you know, you just paint carefully, and then you have a big mess to clean up, and you don't need to spend all the hours of taping it off. I'll come back in here with a razor knife and boop, 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 and be done in just a few minutes, and then I don't have the cost of the tape. So you do you, but if you're careful, aim small, and paint small, you won't need to mess around with a lot of tape and whatnot. And you get the character, human being. You can see my lines, you can see my mistakes, my character. So it's just not that corporate, air sprayed, one color, a beige, you know, where people don't get the joy that they once got out of customized paint jobs. So some things you'll have to do yourself. I don't know if you could, you know, unless you're super rich, could afford to have a painter come in and paint like this by hand. He's not going to want to. He got family to feed. All right. So I just wanted to get a feel for the real time. All right. Well, it's setting sun's coming down. We started about 1 o'clock. It's going on 4. So 3 hours for me to get that far. Plus a little break. We fed the chickens and whatnot. So every bit of 2 hours of 1 to 4, yeah, let's say 2.5 hours of labor there. But look, I'm at the final run here. So, you know, big boards are easy to paint. It's all the cutting in that's difficult. And so I put you on play. I'll go ahead and paint that real time so you can appreciate it. I wanted to get these doors and the front door done, front and back today, and I'm just gonna maybe barely get the front done on both sides. I don't even know if I'll get the other one, because the evening, right now it's probably 87. Earlier it was 94. This is, I know up north you guys have the winter that you have to fight. I know that, but this heat's also something. I'll work you around in the south. No, you can't. The heat won't let you. But anyway, let me go ahead and get that done real quick, and you can watch it real time and see how fast and easy to do real boards. But you'll notice I'll go up and down. I'll do the big board, and then I'll do the inner boards. I won't slock it over. When you get close, that's when you see the grain. Makes all the difference. Let me get this done. All right, so there I went ahead and I cut in all of the window panes. They're all in. If you'll notice, each pane that I'm cutting in the direction of the wood, and then I kind of honor this bottom where the joints meet, and then I cut over again. That gives that one wood panel, it gives it the grain, and then that has grain. So now I'll talk about this. So these uprights, if you'll notice, it's only from here to there. So then I go ahead and I paint that from here to there. And I stop right there. Same thing on this side. I'm just following the wood grain, and I'm honoring where it was mitered and spliced in. So that one was right there. Then this piece is a long piece right here. So I won't go like out to here and just slop it in. I'll start at the miter joint. It was mitered here. So then I'll start at the miter joint, and I'll honor that miter joint all the way across. Any drips I pick up as I go, but then I honor that all the way across. And then I stop at the door, at the miter again over here, so that I don't end up with a big mess. And then just to make sure I keep the wood grain, wherever I did get a little messy, I go ahead and I just get that ready so that when I paint it, it won't look like a glob, a round glob. It'll look like it has a line. So there you go. That's how you do doors. There is a technique. You just follow the grain, and you stop at the miter, and then you go follow the next direction, and then you get the door done. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. It's hot. It got up into the 90s again. So, but I want to get this door done, and the front door, if the sun goes down far enough, I can get to. It'll be every bit of 45 minutes for me to paint one of these French doors all the way, so it's not fast. So, but this is Steve, 1,000 Year Homes. I want to thank you for watching. I'll probably put up another video of the finished products, but this was painting techniques for French doors and how to do a brush door, make it look good. What you working on?
Okay, so I did the door.
All right, so it's ready to paint.
Yes. Now the outside of the door is really dirty. I mean,
it is. It came that way. If you remember,
yes.
Tape on it and stuff. Is the tape gone, or do you need me to strip the tape off of it?
I couldn't get the tape off.
All right, so I'm gonna need to prep that. So that door won't be ready to paint even the front side of it today.
Yeah. And then the house is clean inside.
All right. Well, you see that I'm putting the last touch on the front of this door, and then I might get to it tonight. I don't know. You and I haven't talked about dinner yet.
Oh, yeah. Green fan.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Sometimes I need it if the house heats up too much, and even though it ends up being cold at night, I gotta pump it in.
Yeah.
That's one nice thing about this house, is it really has it wants to stay cool in the heat in the day, and it wants to stay warm at night.
Yep.
All right. Well. All right, and so my cleanup consists of this, because I'm not done. Tomorrow I'll be back. It's a weekend, so Leah's here helping me. She did all the prep work for me. I guess the front door has some tape and whatnot that I'll need to get a heat gun on, to get it. these doors were filthy. So just getting them clean enough to paint was a big deal. I like it, I guess. Tomorrow I'll paint the inside of the door, trim it, and that way it'll have all day to dry.
Yeah.
And then we got to put the hardware back on and whatnot. And then you said the front door over here is getting ready.
That one is really bad.
Yeah, getting ready. All right. But I can already tell she did a good job on that. All right, I don't know where these videos will cut off and how much I'll get done, but there it is, turquoise on a homestead door with this shipping container, but it'll end up being Southwest vibe with adobe around it, and Canales and stuff. What y'all think? Let me know, and if my tips helped you, paint precise, don't worry about painter's tape, and paint with the grain, and wherever you meet a miter, stop and change your paintbrush to the direction of the grain, and then it'll end up looking super. All right, well, here's a day later or so. So you notice I didn't tape this. I don't have a whole lot of tape on here, but the next step for me, since I did tape close, and this will be hard for me to do this while recording, I also need to order a better knife. These 7-in-1s are pretty good. You could sharpen it and put a better edge on it too, but you just go back over for the time it would take me to peel tape off, you know, add tape and tape off. It's pretty easy just to go back over the windows and just peel the little bit of over paint. See how I did that? So you know, I took care of these 3 panes on this side. It will need a second coat, so I'm not going to strip them all right now. But pretty happy. Well, there's a drip, you know, so a little bit of dripping. Down here on the wood, I see a little bit. The same 7-in-1. I could go down in here and, you know, you probably couldn't, but I'm going to do scraped timber anyway. So I'm going to scrape all this timber anyway and then oil treat all that. Here's a big miss, right? So, you know, I just used the 7-in-1 and I just cut a little, you know, edge in it. And then I just scrape it off, and that's it. Just as fast as tape. And I've seen people take tape. Oh, I've got a holiday there. So I've seen people take tape and paint it where it's, and then let it dry hard. And that's a problem. Then you have tape embedded in your paint. And oh my gosh, you'll have to peel that off and repaint. And it'll be a lot harder work than just this little bit. That's the right way. So it does need a second coat. So it took me 3 hours to do this side of the door first pass. I'm already working on the inside. Got a lot of other projects in between, so I've been bumped out. This is like 2 days later, but I've been on a couple other projects and work. But looking good. The turquoise is growing on me. When the evening sun comes, and I'll get a picture of this, it'll look pretty good. So that's why I don't use painter tape anywhere. I just don't bother using painter's tape. I'll maybe mask a window in a car or something. But for a house project, if you're using a brush, just be careful. And then, you know, the little bit of cleanup, look, see, it already looks good, right? So, faster, better, less expensive. Well, there you go. Behind me is the beauty of a hand brush door. I gave you some pointers. Stick with the wood grain. Stop at the intersections, the miters and stuff. All right. So, you know, once upon a time, I used to be in a business where I needed to wear a suit. And I remember I went and got a real suit from a tailor and custom fit. And he custom fitted it for me. And I went in and put it on. I was so excited to come out. I came out. Belt was undone. The shirt was not buckled. There was no tie. Oh, he was so mad at me. He said, never, ever. And he had an Italian accent. I won't even try. All my accents end up sounding Irish or something. Not. Anyway, he had an Italian accent. It was an Italian tailor. He was mad that I halfway showed him the work in progress. He said, never let anybody see you half done. He said, always, when you're in the dressing room, finish the dressing room. Well, out here on the ranch, I don't have that luxury of being able to put everything together and present it. It's missing the hardware, but looky there, right? So that's quite a little vibe. So, You know, people, why are our houses soulless and why is our food tasteless? Well, it's tasteless because it's coming from Cisco. It's just frozen food and they just thaw it out and cook it in a fancy restaurant. Got to find them real restaurants where they're cutting that stuff up by hand. Same thing with doors. Let's look at this one. Both of these doors don't need to cure a little bit. It's a couple days later. Now, imagine this thing earth bagged, right? Stuccoed, adobe over the top. The windows will have adobe. I'm not sure what color the adobe will be, but I think close to that gray or a salmon color. We'll see. And then it'll have a wall that'll go up and there'll be a patio on top people can be on. I'll hand scrape all of those timbers one last time and coat them all so they're all, you know, stained properly. Looky there. I don't know. I originally said I wasn't sure I liked the electric color. But it's growing on me. That door I painted the same way. You paint it as if it's mortared. It's not. It's a steel door. But you paint it as if it's wood with the same mortars. So the end pieces all the way up and down. The centerpiece like it's a centerpiece. I'll end up, the little pep door there, I'll end up taping that off in a while and spray painting it whatever color I want. White probably. But anyway, that looks pretty good. I'm reasonably happy with the execution of that. That's looking very, very good. And don't be afraid to hand paint a door, but it take a long time. So if you hire it done, they're not going to tell you $50. You might be thinking, oh, $50. It's not $50. It's 2 or 3 days of, you got to clean it, prep it, paint it. Then you got to paint it again because you're using brushwork. I mean, right? It's more than that. So, you know, a few $100s is what you're going to be paying to hand paint a door. But wow, is it worth it? I think it is. Let's rotate one last time. Fly in there. I still have a little bit of work to do on this. There's some holidays and some misses. I got the hardware that I have to put on. But what a pleasant little experience for the eyes. Right? It feels good. All right. Well, there's my vanity shots in the setting sun. And when the sun is hitting this, it lights right up. Looks real good. All right, Steve, 1,000-Year Homes. I'm building a tiny super off-grid home. This isn't your regular tiny home just to get in and live. This is a retirement home. It's all high-end. It'll be nuclear proof, resistant, I guess I should say, flood resistance, EMP resistant, hail resistant, all kinds of things. So it's going to be a very high-end steel container, hyper composite home. So, all right, like, subscribe, follow me along. Bye.